Hey, what's up, guys? Christian Brindle here, and I am back with another video where I'm having a conversation with somebody doing big things in the insurance space right now. I am joined by the one and only Jacquie Walter with Translating Insurance. Jacquie, how are you today?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you for asking. It's been a good week.
Yes, absolutely. I can say the same thing on our end, and there's just something about July things start to get busy, and you're
hmm
starting to get ready for AEP, and it's fun. I like July.
Yeah, yes, it's been fun. I've actually been able to connect with a lot of the carrier reps, and they're all, getting out, doing their schmoozing, trying to get you on board with their products and stuff. So it's fun to experience that.
Absolutely. Well, Jacquie, you're somebody that, we've crossed paths quite a bit, here and there kind of over the years, different events. And, I know we've, kind of had a couple of interactions with each other, and you're someone that I've always kind of admired from afar. And I was really excited, to have the opportunity to have a conversation with you and kind of get to spotlight your story. For anybody that's not familiar with you, I know that, a lot of the audience probably already knows you. They've maybe seen you speak somewhere, maybe they've seen, they got to meet you at an event and they're like, wow, Jackie's just awesome. But talk a little bit about your introduction to the insurance business. How did Jacquie find the business early on?
That's a good question. So actually, I was a stay-at-home mom for 7 years before I got licensed. And what happened was 13 years ago, I moved in next door to a beautiful woman named Malia Rogers. So 13 years ago,
Yes.
before we had kids and all of that stuff, we were just two young people trying to navigate life. And she got into the industry a few years before me. I moved out of the state, so we weren't neighbors anymore, but we stayed in touch. And I got to a point in life as a stay-at-home mom where we were living in a Portland metro area. It was very expensive, single income household. My husband had a blue collar job, so he wasn't bringing in a ton of money.
Yeah.
And then my car broke down and I needed a new
Mm,
car, and his income wasn't going to get us the money for that. And so I was like, I got to get a job, right? I need to
yeah.
make some money to afford a car payment. And I looked around at some jobs, but even though I had a bachelor's degree and an MBA, I was looking at things that were below my education and work experience because of that 7 year gap and my resume. As a
Yeah.
mom, if we decide to be a stay-at-home mom, we're risking our climb up the corporate ladder to be there for the kids. And so I ran into that where I wasn't going to get any flexibility in the schedule. And I didn't want to be away from my kids 8 hours or 9 hours a day and put them in daycare. So Malia was like, why don't you do Medicare sales? She's like, if you do a few sales a month, you can afford a car payment, which was my primary goal. I never imagined that it would be like this, that I would be this busy or really have this many clients at this point. So I'm super excited that she even thought to bring me into this business.
Yeah. I mean, it's remarkable too, how small the world can be
Mhm.
sometimes. To have somebody like Malia, as your neighbor
Yes, I
and
know. What
kind
are
of,
the chances?
yeah, and help, kind of introduce and kind of be that gateway individual, to kind of
Mhm.
help you get into the business. So Malia basically says, hey, why don't you come sell Medicare?
Right.
Um, I'm sure you go, study for your license, you get your
Mhm.
license. What does the first year look like? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I connected with my FMO. Malia actually connected me with my FMO right off the bat. And so I was able to tap into all the training. I decided instead of just doing Medicare that I was going to do under 65 as well so that I could help more of the people that I was networking with, and joined a networking group right away, which has been instrumental in the growth of my business because they're mostly entrepreneurs who need health insurance or know other people who need health insurance. So that has been huge, especially with realtors,
Yeah.
because they all need our help. And so that really got me going. And then the other things that I did was tap into my market area, like carrier reps, because if you are someone who wants to work year round and is a go-getter and you reach out to them, they're going to give you opportunities. And that's what happened in my case, is I connected with a couple and became pretty tight with them. And so anytime an opportunity came up to have a booth or show up at the zoo and do a Medicare event or anything like that, they would call me and ask me if I wanted to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think what I've always said with like carrier reps is like, so many people approach them the wrong way. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they approach them thinking all about what they can do for them and not really approaching them in a way that like, hey, you probably need production in this area. I can help you. I have a
Mm-hmm.
plan. This is what I'm thinking. You know, they have like a detailed blueprint of kind of what they have in mind. Um,
Right.
my experience has always been with the carrier reps is like the more, you know, put together you can seem, and the more,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like you can seem like an asset and you have a plan and you know, and that kind of thing. And you're not just like, hey, can we do something together? And like, well, what do you have in mind? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I mean,
Right.
what should I do? You know, that kind of
Right.
thing. Like, um, I found there's so much more willing to help you and do things for you.
100%. I agree with that. And we're not sitting around asking for handouts. I never went to them and said, please give me leads. It was
Yeah.
more like, I want to write business and you're welcome to be part of it, you know, and how can we collaborate? But it was
Yeah.
never like sitting around waiting for someone to help me. I had to dial in to the trainings. I had to choose to be present. I had to educate myself in some ways because I was kind of on an island out here in Portland. And then also really dialing into the broker communities, like the Facebook groups, which
Yeah.
we're all super grateful for. To get answers to things that we run across that are unusual circumstances or situations has been super helpful. But also collaborate, like just having that camaraderie, right?
Yeah.
Of knowing other agents across the country, they're going through the same struggles and the same challenges, was really nice. So I appreciate the efforts that you put in for that group.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for that. I mean, that to me is really, you know, what I've always envisioned for the group anyway. It's just
Mhm.
being a resource for
Right.
anybody, no matter who your hierarchy is, no matter who you're aligned with. It's
Mhm.
supposed to just be a community, you know, a true definition of, you know, a rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing. And
Mhm. I love
so
that.
I love hearing that, and you know that I appreciate you saying that. Um, so fast forward a little bit to today.
Mhm.
How long have you been in the business now? And what do things look like today in your business?
6 years. So I got my first Medicare sale July of 2017. And that first year, of course, was more about building the foundation. So product knowledge. I wrote a bunch of people during annual enrollment. So that kind of set me up for the residual income for the next year. And then what I've been doing lately, I actually partnered with a group agent. And so they refer me a ton of business. I refer them my groups because I don't want to do that. And then they're actually connecting me with their groups and other group brokers that they work with that maybe do larger groups so that I can be their go-to person for people leaving the group or aging into Medicare, even under 65 who just are quitting. Or if the group doesn't offer dependent coverage, I can help with the family. So that's been a really great opportunity for me and one I wanted. I actually, when I started this year, I was like, I really want to get connected with HR managers. But it turned out getting connected with group brokers was equally as beneficial. So,
Yeah, that's great. That's
mhm.
great. So a question that I have for you is, let's say there's somebody that's watching this, right? So you've been very successful at kind of, you know, building those relationships, building those referral partners, and, you know, really kind of having a tailored focus on like a certain group of people, right? You know, I
Mhm.
want to go after these group of people and try to build those relationships and those connections, working with carrier reps, you know, being valuable to them.
Right.
Um, and talk a little bit about if somebody's watching this and they are maybe, let's say, brand new,
Mhm.
and, they just got their license. Maybe they've been doing it 6 months. I'm going to paint a picture here of a imaginary person that might not be so imaginary, because I feel like there's a lot of people who like this, but let's say they're in 6 months and they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to learn. They have 20 clients, 20, 30
Mhm.
clients, something like that. And they want to be Jacquie Walter. And they want to get to the level that you've kind of gotten at as an agent and a business owner. What are some things that you'd recommend? What's some advice you'd give to a person in that situation?
Yeah, that's a great question. So number one, I would say always show up as a resource, right? You
Yeah.
want to be the resource for CPAs, financial advisors. So you want to go to them and explain to them how important it is to plan for your Medicare budget, understanding IRMA, helping them talk to their 55, 60-year-old clients and getting prepared for that transition, letting them know if you do under 65 that you can help them if they want to retire early, and then planning what your adjusted gross income is going to be so that you can hit the sweet spot for tax credits. So financial advisors are a really good resource for referrals. CPAs, get a good couple CPAs that you work with, because when you're doing under 65, at least, you have to know their AGI to do the application. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know your AGI? Do you have a good CPA? Let me refer you to one. And the more business that you send to those other people, the more you're going to be top of mind if the conversation comes up about health insurance. And then you train them how to bring it up in the conversation, right? So, like, my financial advisors know to ask their people if they have health insurance, when's the last time you reviewed your tax credits, make sure we have the right income. So I'm training my referral partners how to bring me up in the conversation. And so showing up as a resource means you're not there to get. It's the whole giver's gain concept, right? Of how many people can I benefit and can I help? And so my referral partners never look at me like a leech.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
more of a, wow, Jacquie gave me some valuable information. I didn't know that. That's really helpful. When they send their clients to me, they know that they're going to get taken care of. I'm responsive. I write them back right away and let them know the outcome. So it's just being a good, business person by explaining what you've done. And then let's see, what other advice? I love networking.
Yeah.
I never really understood the value of it when I was younger, but now that I'm a little bit more mature, I understand the power of it and the power of referral partners. And
Yeah.
also, I've niched in the last few years. So when I first started, I was like, I'll do everything, right? I'll do group, I'll do individual, I'll do alternative plans, I'll do all the things. And then I realized I don't find joy from doing group. I'd rather refer that out. I don't
Yeah.
find joy from long-term care insurance. I'm going to refer that to a partner who can refer back to me. So instead of being like the jack of all trades, pick a couple things that you're really passionate about and really good at, and then find partners that can help you fill the gaps.
I love that. I think, I mean, that there is so much great wisdom and great advice there. I mean, I have always said to agents that you're so much better off being the best in your state at one particular thing than trying to be average, maybe, right, at a bunch of
Right,
different things. And
right.
it's so much easier to get referral partners that way, because they're not threatened that you're going to step on their toes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of our best referral partners also, I've had a similar experience where some of our best referral partners have been financial planners, CPAs, things like that. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think that is just some great advice. And the examples are over and over and over again, with a lot of people that have been successful,
Right.
with a lot of that information. I want to talk a little bit about you being a mom and also getting into the business, because I think this
Mm-hmm.
is such a cool thing. So, like, it's something that my wife is doing right now,
Mm-hmm.
so we have a 4-year-old, as most people know. and we only have one kid. So like
Mhm.
when I talk about this, people are like, I have 3 to 6. Like you guys have no idea like what,
Yeah.
like, and the one we have seems to keep us like insanely busy. I don't know how
Mhm.
people do it with like 7 kids, but, I think it's such an understated thing sometimes about the level of, you know, discipline, the level of, really having a really disciplined schedule about making sure
Mhm.
that you're getting everywhere and doing everything at the same time. Talk about some of the things you've done that have allowed you to be successful while still being, a wife, a mom, everything like that. And I'm sure it's a team effort. I'm sure it's a group effort. Your whole family
Right.
probably helps with that. Um, but talk a little bit about that because I think it's such an amazing thing that you've been able to do, and it's a challenge that a lot of women out there have when they're
Right.
moms,
Right.
because every kid is like a full-time job is what I've heard. And so
They
I
are a
believe
lot
it.
of work. That's a great question. So when I first started my business, my husband was working full time and going to college full time. So I was doing everything, right? I was
Yeah.
doing all of the answering calls, marketing, networking, writing the business, but also all the cooking, all the cleaning, all the laundry, taking care of all the kids. And at the time we had 3, about a year into starting my business, we had our 4th and got his stepdaughter, who was a teenager, the same year within 2 months of it. So then we went from 3 to 5 really
Yeah.
quickly. And that's where I started having to do time blocking. So that's when I learned the power of managing my calendar, blocking out time for the kids, blocking out time for income generating activities,
Hmm.
blocking out time for the non-income generating activities that we hate to do, but we have to, right?
Yeah.
Like the bookkeeping and commissions and all of those things. And then blocking out a little bit of time for self-care. So that's where the morning routine starts, right? Where you get up before the crack of dawn and do your mindset stuff and read. And I mean, I like to, spend time with God and stuff when I have my morning time.
Hmm.
Then I get into the homeschooling because we do homeschooling for 4 out of our 5 kids, then work, then family
Yeah.
time. So it's like I live and die by my calendar. One of the things that I've done is I've added a lot of technology. So my husband went to school for computer engineering, worked at Intel for a couple years, 4 years. And then when I got too busy with the business, he decided instead of pursuing his career path at Intel, he would come work for me as my chief technology officer and
Ah.
co-teacher with the homeschooling. And so that has really helped because now he's connecting my systems from, the calendar system, the CRM, our phone system, workflows for before and after when a client becomes a client, but when they're a prospect, we have all these different technologies that we're using. So it's kind of saved my life because I
Yeah.
can automate a lot of things and I don't have to do them manually anymore.
Yeah. I could totally see that. I feel like for most people, learning how to build out the automations and the workflows and everything like that is one of the most challenging things for a lot of agents.
Mm-hmm.
It is probably one of the hard, most, it's not even that it's necessarily that difficult. It's just more like every system has a different way of doing it. You have to like
Mm-hmm.
learn the system, and
Right.
it's very time intensive. So
Mm-hmm.
that's great. I feel like it definitely has to be a team effort, like
Yes.
I couldn't do what I do without my wife, and
Right.
not even close. And I was trying to tell people that I I also, like with my wife getting back into sales the last year or so, and trying to, because she has her license, trying to work in the office. I've been trying to do what I can do to help more as dad, and
Right.
things
That's
like
so
that.
good that
And
you're doing that because we do need to both be present and be the parenting. Sorry, my son brought me a flower while we were on the call.
no, you're fine.
Yes, it requires two. And for us, for the longest time, my husband was always at work. So I was pretty much like a single parent with financial support, right?
Yeah.
But since I brought him home and he's working with me, now he's helping with the kids, and his relationship with them has flourished. And
Yeah.
you investing that time in your daughter and getting that connection and that one-on-one time with her is going to be so valuable, not only for you, but for her, because when kids have that heart connection, I think that they're more willing to listen and take your advice, and they trust you more because they're connected. So it is going to be worth the time, even if you have to take a little time from work to maintain that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it moves really fast too. You don't want to miss things.
Right.
Right.
Oh, I know.
Like I know my daughter's only 4, but it seems like she was just 1. Like you snap your fingers, so like everybody talks about all the time how it moves so quickly. And it definitely does. You snap your fingers and all of a sudden they're 10 or something like that.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I love the homeschooling. We were never gonna homeschool. I was always like, there's teachers, like they were educated for that. Like that's their job. I have my job. But the last 3 years with them has been amazing. And just being able to see all those changes and be present, them seeing me working hard and their dad working hard, and that we're not perfect, that we're human beings, and we're constantly trying to improve ourselves and read books and grow, is so good for them to see. And if they were gone all day, every day, I don't think they would see that in us. So
I think that's really powerful, is like leading, being the example for them, in the hard work, in the personal growth, personal development, all of that is so important. And it's something that you can make a big difference, in their development and their lives going forward. The last thing I wanted to ask, Jacquie, and I want to be respectful of your time. I could probably keep you on here another hour and talk to you. Was with your business. One thing I hear about quite a bit recently, and I don't know if it's something that you hear, but I've heard it quite a bit recently in the Medicare business in particular. I've seen some people be like, oh, it's the opportunity is past. There's more competition, there's more call centers, there's more agents, there's more compliance rules, there's more restriction, that kind of thing. What would you say to people that have that kind of attitude towards it? I have my own thoughts, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of like the self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So like what you think about, you bring about. And if you're thinking about negative things, like there's not enough business out there for me, and there's too much competition and it's too hard, then you're going to get what you are thinking about, right? Like it's going to be hard. I've never thought that it was hard. I never thought there's not enough business for me, but that's because I go out and hustle. I present my value and people see it. And so they want to work with me. So I guess it's mindset, right? Like, and all of the regulations, like think about it for your clients. These rules and stuff are there to protect them. Don't you want them to be protected? I understand that it presents challenges for us, but it's like, if you get upset every time somebody moves your cheese, like you're going to be an unhappy person because your cheese gets moved a lot as a business owner, right? So you just have to get over it and think positive, be an early adopter of technology or other things that are going to help you get on board mentally. Don't get bitter, just forge ahead.
Yeah. I love that. And I think it's so true. I think you can't do anything about somebody moving your cheese. There's not a thing you can do about it. It's going to happen regardless of how you feel about it, regardless of how upset you get about it. And the best thing you can do is if it gets moved, go find it.
Yeah.
And adapt and change.
Yes.
And I think it's interesting for me to see, because there's so many agents I encounter on a regular basis, and I wouldn't say it's even the majority, but it's enough of them to pull my attention to where it's like, well, there's no way to make money the first 2 or 3 years in this business. I'm like, I don't agree with that. And it's just such a, negative Nancy, chicken
Mhm.
little, sky is falling kind of mentality. And I think it's one of those things where you hit it right on the head, like whatever you think things are going to be like, you're probably right.
Right.
And
Yeah. So, and the whole control what you can control, right? Like, no sense getting worked up about things that are out of your control. But if it's within your scope of control, you better focus on it and get it dialed in. So, if I can control my schedule, I'm going to be less stressed out. If I'm
yep.
just haphazard with everything, I'm going to be more stressed out. So, just tweaking your processes to align with like your business needs and everything is beneficial as well.
Yep. Yep. I couldn't agree more. Jacquie, thank you for doing this. This was so fun.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And happy to be a resource. If anybody has questions or anything like that, I'm always here to answer them.
Where's the best place for people to connect with you?
So Facebook is great. You can always send me a message on Facebook. And if you need to get on my calendar, I'll message you my calendar link and we can answer your questions. So not recruiting, no downline, not interested in that, as we talked about before. But I understand that people have questions about how to do things and I want to be a resource.
Love it. Love it. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, you already know what to do. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It helps more agents like you who need to hear this information find it easier. Comment your thoughts down below. Anything you found really impactful from this episode. Subscribe. We bring weekly episodes and we'll be back next time. Thanks so much, guys.